Harry Higgs even, like, he made a bunch of noise, and
he
in
kind of faded, man. Harry really,
like you
he
say,
was camouflage on Sunday.
Exactly. So Koepka, yeah, I can see it. Like
I'm confirming it too.
I'm confirming it too. Like Koepka's, it's interesting because right now Rory looks like, and maybe I'm wrong, but from the outside, he looks like a distracted athlete. Like he just doesn't look 100% dialed into his game, what he's capable of.
I agree, and he hasn't won a major, I believe, since 2014. I think
Long
it
time.
is 9 years.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back here. Confirm or deny? Brooks Koepka will finish ahead of Rory McIlroy this week.
100% confirm. I wouldn't be shocked if he won it. Maybe he
Wow.
goes on another heater where he's the guy at the majors. It seemed like, wasn't it a couple years in a row where it was like PGA, U.S. Open, it was Koepka. He's healthy now. He was dominant in Rochester at Oak Hill. I wouldn't be shocked if he won the tournament.
I wouldn't be either. He's done that twice now. He's gone back-to-back, I believe, at the U.S. and the PGA multiple times.
The question is the golf course. It seems like that big golf course with the long par fours in like the nasty rough. It's like Shinnecock, he did it. He did it at Oak Hill. Aaron Hills, I don't know what the rough was like, but this golf course doesn't seem like a traditional U.S. Open course. It looks really cool, but I don't.
Really cool.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. If it favors like the bomber, I don't know. So the golf course, if it's one of those tricky ones, I don't know how that plays into his play. But I wouldn't be shocked to see him win the golf tournament.
Yeah, and I was saying before he came on, like Rory just doesn't look dialed into exactly what he's capable of. When we signed off Friday, I think we all assumed he was going to be there on Sunday, and he faded off. Like it just, he never really dominated on that Sunday when he needed to.
No kidding, and everybody keeps looking at him. It's like he drives the golf ball better than anyone in the world when he's on, but he can't hit a 54-degree wedge to 15 feet. So it's a weird thing with him. But let's not write the guy off. If he's dialed in, he could win going away.
No one would be surprised if he won at all. But I'm confirming this as well. It's a clean sweep. Like Koepka, I fully expect to be in contention. Like if he's healthy and ready to play, I really am looking forward to seeing this course. Though it looks like a really cool course. But,
dude, it's a weekend trip, Hazy. L.A. Country Club and Riv.
Yes, that's a dream. And although you gotta be buddies with like Mark Wahlberg to play the two of them.
Dude, I can make it happen.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
By the way, I reached out to the guy at Royal Montreal on Twitter. He hasn't responded yet. I'm trying to get you out there tomorrow.
I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not sure it's going to happen at this point. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you for that, though. Confirm and deny. A Canadian will finish inside the top 5 this week at the U.S. Open.
Canadian finishes at the top 5 at the U.S. Open. I'm going to confirm it. Maybe your boy, Tricky Nicky, is just feeling the vibe. He's not afraid of the big moment. He played with Scheffler and Rahm at the final round in Arizona at the Waste Management. Just won. He might be gassed. A lot of times after a player wins, if they're not Tiger Woods, they're a little bit gassed the next week. Corey Connors, can he ball strike his way again around that golf course? I don't know. I'm going to confirm it. I'm going to confirm it, man.
Yeah, I think recency bias, I'm right there. I'm confirming it. I just pretty excited about it. I think, and it might energize the whole Canadian group that was there,
Sure. You would hope that everyone's inspired.
Right.
I'm going to be considered a hater here. I'm going to deny this because
that is a hater comment.
It is, but top 5 at the U.S. Open, man, is incredibly difficult to accomplish when you talk. And I love obviously the way Nick Taylor plays, and it was an incredibly cool story. That was at the height of heights, and he's probably still partying. I think it's very difficult to dial it back in for a U.S. Open. Connors, what he does on Sunday recently has scared me. Mac has been in and out. I think Hadwin's the guy I would almost look at as someone who might lurk. We'll get to those picks later on, but I definitely expect multiple Canadians making the cut. But top 5, that's, you're talking Scheffler, Rahm, Koepka, McIlroy, Max Homa, who knows that course well and is an LA guy, loves winning in California.
I'm going to also dump on one of your other theories. If a Canadian wins the U.S. Open this week, it's bigger than last week.
Really?
So you can take that.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I don't believe so on home. I don't think that's the case.
Dude,
in Canada.
The U.S. Open?
Yeah.
Get serious.
I got you. Around the world, it's bigger. Without question, around the world, it's bigger. In the States, it's bigger. For that individual player, it's bigger.
Let's just go big picture. In the world, okay?
Yeah,
Think
but
about that. In the world.
I don't operate big picture. I operate on the micro. And from a micro perspective, in Canada, that Nick Taylor putt, I'm sorry, man, we'll see. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. If it happens, hopefully it does, then we can really break that down. The ultimate hypothetical. Incredible that Canadian golf, we're talking about this with a serious face.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're actually debating something. We're like, we could see that happening. Confirm or deny, the Maple Leafs should seriously pursue Connor Hellebuyck.
Dude, this is one of those ones where I'm 100% confirming it, but I also know it's so far-fetched. The idea of it happening, just the way things are set up. And that's what bothers me about just like the big it's just like you can't do much. The flexibility, I don't know if it's there. So I don't know if it could happen, but it's 100% confirmed. Anybody should try to approach getting that goaltender.
Right. I think I agree. I confirm it that you should pursue. But again, what is the ask? What does a contract extension look like? And you could probably swing it if Tavares only had 1 year left on his deal, then that 11 comes off, right? Like that's, but I think Tavares has 2 left on his deal, and so there's 11 of that following year. But I think you have to explore it and to see what Winnipeg would want in an asking price, and then, you try and make the numbers work on the back end of it. But I think you've got to be in at least the conversation, because let me ask you guys this: what's Samsonov going to want?
Well, that's
RFA.
the thing. Well, and you also Matt Murray's still in the books.
4.8, and he could get bought out.
Yeah, it can, but then you're penalized this year and next. Not overly punitive number, but still.
Right, 672 next year, I think. So.
Right, which that is relatively low,
Right.
But the next year, what is it, like $2 million or something?
It's $2 million, yeah.
So that, if need be, that's what has to happen, right? Like, regardless, it's funny how what goes around comes around. Lou left a drag bunt in Patrick Marleau for Dubas that he had to clean up, and now Dubas has left this situation for the next guy in Tree Living. But just like Dubas had to do it, the same thing might have to happen here with Matt Murray. If you have to buy it out, you have to.
Right.
But, yeah, I'm going to confirm it, because I also think – everything has to be on the table, and the idea of moving off the core 4 in some capacity, that's what this would signal. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, obviously, and there are 30 other teams in the league that are allowed to pursue him as well. Winnipeg's not just going to cut a deal for the Leafs for the sake of it. But I think the idea of being serious about change would include looking at a guy like Connor Hellebuyck.
Well, and I'll throw one more thing in there,
I think it's mandatory they do that.
Yeah, you throw one more thing in. The hand might be forced based on William Nylander's ask. Like, if he just comes in and says, like, this is what I believe my comparables are, this is what I would like to make, and they just can't work it out, I think Brad Treliving's staring at another Johnny Gaudreau situation where you can't allow him to play without a deal, or you have to make a decision sooner than later. I don't know. Again, I'm just speculating, but you got to figure out exactly what it's going to take to get Matthews under contract, to get Nylander, and find out if you can work with that moving forward. If not, then you've got to have Nylander in
Wouldn't
play.
that be incredible? Like, I don't anticipate a Matthews and Nylander kind of joint statement on July 1st. They've both agreed to extensions. I can't imagine that would happen. But if it ever did, like, what would the reaction be? It's like, all right, Matthews is back, Nylander's back, Tavares isn't going anywhere. I guess Mitch is coming back. You're like, all right, we're just going to keep going here. They're bringing the band back. Let's see what we got. And not only bringing it back for an extended period of time.
Right, but you know this. We all love Morgan Riley, but maybe that's somewhere where you circle and go. He's part of the core.
Sure,
correct.
He's the longest standing player.
But
on the team.
He has I believe, a full no move.
I think so. $7.5 million a year. He's a UFA coming up. I'm sure he got everything he was asking for. I don't recall the details, but
I just think they need somebody. They need a top tier defenseman to play with Morgan, like a like a 1, and Morgan's a 1A. Like, make him a 1A, or, that type of stuff.
Sure.
Like that's the way I would look at it. But again, easier said than done. Who's available out there? Who's available right now that the Leafs can put their hand up and go, okay, we're in on that defenseman. I just don't know.
It was probably Severson, maybe Provorov, and O's Blue Jackets, swept both of them up already.
Go Jackets.
Yeah. Go Jackets.
Exactly.
Confirm or deny, Fred VanVleet will return to the Raptors on a long-term deal.
I'm going to deny this one. I don't know. I kind of got the vibe from him that maybe he wants to explore something else, which is kind of crazy with the old bet on yourself, won a championship, got a massive 3-year contract. I believe it was 3 years. Mm-hmm. But it just seemed like the look on his face doing some pressers where he would welcome the idea of going somewhere else. I'm just going literally by his facial expressions and the way he looked like.
Wow.
And you said he was going to just he wasn't going to take the player option regardless. That's just what players do.
No, it was never going to happen.
But I honestly just got the sense of watching him. He got a little bit tired of everything last year, and I don't know if a new coach would change that. But I just got a feeling that he might welcome something different.
I agree. I think he's gone. I don't know why. You pointed to the body language. Every day he had to speak for that team last year. Every day. I had to come out and talk about it. And I still get a sense, bringing Darko in, like they might be in a rebuild scenario. So it might be, sign and trades type of scenario, get what you can for him. I don't know. I'm not convinced he's coming back.
No, I mean, Darko said last hour how important he is in terms of the culture setting, what he brings. They have absolutely no depth at that position, none.
Right.
Whatsoever. Malachi Flynn's not going to do it. Delano Banton, I don't know where he comes into play. But, if Fred leaves, then you've got to address that via different avenues. But I'm gonna deny it as well, because I think VanVleet is going to look for a different situation and possibly look, for a better opportunity to win. So while it does feel like he's wired that way, I believe he loves it here. He should love it here. They've treated him incredibly well. If he stays, they'll pay him. Like, that'll be a commitment. The Raptors understand what they're bringing back. But, it's difficult to get a read on what they're going to do. Like in terms of whether or not they try to stay competitive, think they're close. Because if it's a rebuild, retool, then Fred's gone. Mm-hmm.
Maybe what Harden decides to do is a factor in what happens with him as well.
Yeah, where is Houston available? Is Philly available? Yes, that's another thing. If you go to Philly in some capacity and team back up with Nick Nurse, I wouldn't be surprised at all. In fact, I'd almost lean towards that being a definite possibility. Confirm or deny, in 10 years there will be less review in sports than there is currently now today.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
There is going to be
way more.
Butler? How
way
stupid
more.
That was.
But you know what's going to happen, guys? I think we're going to get to, you mentioned 10 years. I think AI is going to be involved. I think it's going to be, but the reviews will be quicker. Like, I think they will have technology.
Dude, there might be robots running around NBA courts and behind plates. Those robots that you see, they're going to be making strike call. I'm telling you.
So they got to make a judgment call on whether
you know those
Jimmy
white
Butler...
robots you see that they're like everyone's afraid of? They're jumping on stuff. I'm telling you, they're going to be wheeling out on sport courts calling games.
Yeah, I feel like technology is going to be so much. Like, think of 10 years of technology. What's going to be available. Like, we're not going to be able to, like, 100% that we'll be able to tell when a puck crosses the line, because there's going to be some form of technology that goes, that's over the line. Don't even think about it. It's in. Like, that's it.
Right, but that's why, you know what, I'm going to confirm this, because then you don't need to review. Like, the technology will allow for less review because you don't have to waste your time.
But I think my point is however you want to phrase it, everything will be reviewed because they'll be able to instantaneously, like through technology, it'd be like, that's a penalty, that's not a penalty, that's
I don't think you can do that with subjective calls. Like, how is a robot going to make a call on whether or not Jimmy Butler stuck his leg out last night?
What about this, Hazy? Would you be opposed to this?
It's a judgment call.
There's a robot arm on the ump behind the plate, and it knows if it's a strike, and the robot arm goes up on
That's different. I personally, I don't want that. I don't need it, but I understand it's coming, and it's black or white. It's fair or foul, strike or or ball, right? And everyone will be held to the same standard. What I'm saying is you can't do that with a hooking call. You know,
Right.
you can't do it with a foul or a charge. Like it's subjective. You know,
Well,
like you or else you're going to call everything. That's
Dude,
not
but
gonna
there's
happen.
people bitching every night saying that penalty should be reviewable. Can't have that penalty. People want everything reviewed.
Yeah, it's
everything.
wrong, and they're stupid, and it shouldn't happen.
What I'm saying is that right now, and I'm not privy to it, everywhere you turn, it's AI. So this Chat GPT, or hey, I saw on Bar Down, AI do the jerseys for all the 7 Canadian teams. Like to me, there is going to be technology involved. And you mentioned,
Sure,
right, the Jimmy Butler kick there. I don't know if that
The
was
robot
a call
can't
or not.
determine that.
But
although
if
the robot, I would probably have more faith in getting it right because it was ridiculous that they didn't reverse that.
But
call
that's
last
what
week.
I'm saying is the robot will have the know-how. They're going to be thinking like humans 10 years from now, so they're going to go, "That's a call," and they'll have no emotion about it.
Right,
They're not
but
going to sit and argue with it.
Sure,
That's
but
a call.
it'll still be a judgment call then, so you're still going to get the same reaction. People are going to just say the robot's a moron instead of the ump.
Well,
you know,
but then you can
or
blame the
ref.
robot, like that idiot robot. Like
Exactly, but then it's still the same problem. It's still people are going to look at it and say the robot got it right or wrong. I hear what you're saying. Speaking of which, I read today that Paul McCartney's saying they're going to come out with another Beatles song using artificial intelligence to
Lennon?
represent like John Lennon and I guess George Harrison.
Yeah.
Like that is wild.
Maybe he
man.
could redo his set at the Super Bowl, and I'll watch it.
You'd prefer the fake Paul McCartney over
what
the
if you
real
had a
Paul
robot,
McCartney?
a robot McCartney sitting there playing, "Hey Jude"?
That's what I'm going to do to you someday. When that is available to me, I'm going to purchase the AI version of Paul McCartney and send them to your house. 2 in the morning
awesome.
with a piano.
Sitting on his front lawn.
No,
Yes.
you're not doing that.
Oh, I absolutely.
I'll
am.
tackle a fake artificial intelligence robot with a piano on
You
my
go
front
ahead.
lawn.
Fill your boots.